All right, welcome to episode 7 of Emo Kids Podcast. Today, you might notice we've kind of changed the seating around a little bit, and also different framing. But you'll also notice someone new, Adam.
What's up?
Adam, introduce yourself, buddy.
My name's Adam Schell. I am the producer of the It Was Never a Phase Fest, which we all did last year, and we're about to come up on round 2 in July 21st. I also do a lot of the live music for a spot in Huntington Beach called Cruisers Pizza Bar Grill, and have started kind of branching out into doing more shows other places and stuff like that too.
Love it, man. Love it. You also notice that Steve is not here, but he is shitting out of his mouth right now.
Oh no!
But yeah, we're stoked to have Adam here. Hopefully, you guys are stoked to have someone else speak besides us.
I'm happy to be here in this super secret underground location in LA that we can't tell you where we are.
Yeah, right.
Do you guys already tell them where we are, or do they know?
You can tell them.
No, we shouldn't tell them. I think it should be a secret.
Well, you just told them we're in LA, so somewhere in LA.
It's a big city.
So this is our first interview we've ever done. Like I said, we want to interview people that are in the scene in different ways. Mm-hmm. And we thought Adam would be a great person to kick it off, especially with the festival coming up.
Yeah. I'm stoked. I mean, I didn't know I was the first guest. I'm
the first guest ever.
That's awesome. It's you and I kind of connected over this music before we booked a band or anything, at the bar where at Cruisers, and way before we had the idea of doing this festival, and then, I met obviously Sam, and then kind of the band kind of gathered around, and kind of you guys came to your final lineup that you have right now, and obviously with Josh too. So I think this is dope to kind of put this a little full circle of to where we started to where we are now.
You should tell the story of like how we found out that we both liked emo music. Do you remember where that was and what we were doing?
We were at the river. We were at the river in Parker, Arizona, and
just getting sloppy drunk.
Yeah, it was float weekend, which actually just happened again. I was not there. We weren't there, but this was a couple years ago, and I don't know. Someone had a playlist on in the house or the boat, and it was Seosin, or it was someone like that. Someone, from 22 years ago, we were listening to it and realized that you had played in a band and done some touring, and I had been to. We started talking about what shows we'd been to, and who our favorite people were.
It's like the Step Brothers moment. Like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah, literally. We're standing in this kitchen of this rental house in Parker, Arizona, and we started talking about Alkaline Trio, and we started talking about people like Finch and like all these kind of like
we're feeling each other out. We're seeing like, oh, this guy knows this. Oh, you know this band.
Yes, we were definitely we're name dropping bands for sure. It's like, how deep down the rabbit hole do you go? It's because I love Blink-182, but that's not very far down the rabbit hole.
No, it's not. It certainly is not.
But and then from then on, that's when I was just started getting going with doing bands and doing a regular emo night at Cruisers. We had one iteration we had a couple different bands play, and one iteration that Sam was in way back in the day, which sounds crazy to say now. It's like 3 years ago almost, or two and a half years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it would be 3.
Yeah, almost 3.
It'll be 3, yeah.
And Jordan was there, and Jordan's like, well, if anyone ever is looking for a drummer, like, I used to be a drummer, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. You jumped in, started drumming for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then kind of, the grouping of people changed a bit, and it kind of like just took off from there. The first show, one of the first shows that you played was an emo night. Well, recently, obviously, was an emo night at Cruisers.
I think that was the first show. Was that the first show?
The Voice You Cry one?
Was it at Cruisers the first one?
I don't know if it was the first one at Cruisers, but it was. Yeah, it was. I mean,
that's where you two met each other, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a bunch of hard hitting emo questions.
Yeah. Oh God. I was not too trivia related.
We're testing each other.
I don't do song lyrics.
No. It's more opinion based than fact based. So you're not being tested.
On Scary Kids, Scaring Kids. Second album on their fourth song.
What did he nickname his left nipple?
I'm gonna defer to one of y'all for that. That's what it is.
All right. So first question.
Yeah.
What is emo to you, Adam?
What is emo to me? Well, this is the big question these days, right? What does emo mean? And I think that the way that to break it down the simplest is emo is sad music with happy melodies. And that's the way that I kind of got into it, because I am, like I said, I cannot recite lyrics back to you. Like, I've never been
Me either.
that person who's like,
Not that guy.
I can't do it. I can sing every guitar
Good thing you're the
riff in a
drummer.
song.
Yeah,
I can sing a guitar riff, you know what I mean? I can sing a melody of a song, but I don't know every lyric. And I'll be like transparent. There's some of these songs that I loved for 10 years, and I like looked up the lyrics. I was like, well, this is dark as fuck.
Dude, before becoming the singer of this band, I didn't realize how many lyrics I didn't know.
Right.
Well, yeah, and like there's a lot of lyrics about, doing terrible things to yourself, and that
A lot of them.
And I realized that how much I was in it for the melody, and I knew it was a sad song, and I knew it was a song
Sure.
about like struggling, but they sing it in a way that makes you want to dance, and so that's what it is to me. It's
The juxtaposition, really.
exactly happy sounding music, sad actual lyrics. I
Right.
guess. Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, what is your journey into emo music / culture? What were you like in high school? Were you emo?
The gateway drug.
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you
let's
wanna
hear it,
go,
let's hear it.
the gateway drug for emo was ska music.
Oh, yeah!
There we go. In high school, I was a ska kid, and I guess that was, I don't know, second wave. That's Real Big Fish.
Sam
and
has an even
Mighty
bigger
Mighty
boner for you
Bosstones.
now.
I'm definitely the only one in this band that now I'm not so outnumbered.
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
Right.
But that's what it was like. I played the trumpet when I was a kid, high school, college.
By the way, I had you saved in my number as Adam Trumpet
oh god,
from the first night that we met, and I always never knew. I was like, wait, is this Adam or is this like who is that?
that's not exactly accurate anymore because I don't play anymore, really. But
We were trying to get him on to play Superman with us.
yeah,
That's right. I remember.
It's
Still can.
we'll see. One day maybe.
True.
We'll do
July
you're putting me on the
21st,
spot
bro.
now.
July 21st. Get Adam up there.
But yeah, that was it. I played trumpet. Those are the only rock bands with trumpets in them. And I was like, cool, it's a rock band with a trumpet. I love this. And then all those, Bosstones and Real Big Fish particularly would play at Warped Tour every year. Mm-hmm. And so I started going to Warped Tour, and I was like, oh, this isn't just Blink-182 and ska music. Like, there's other things happening here, And so I, that's when I really learned about more like screamo and like just harder sounds, because obviously ska is very much kind of like poppy boppy, like happy sounding.
Yes, yeah.
But that's
Poison the Well.
yeah,
Was that
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And from ska, I discovered, and I was actually just listening to it on the way here because I was listening to a bunch of female front singers because we were discussing doing a little review on the show, but I started listening to the Atticus compilation CD.
Oh man,
I don't know if
compilations were
anyone
key.
had this.
Oh, yeah.
Compilations were key, man.
This is
Fat
Mark
Records.
Hoppus's clothing company's compilation. It was like 25 songs, and I had these songs memorized, right? And
Just not lyrics.
no, but exactly. Touche. But I knew the next song. I knew I knew what every song was called and every artist, and then full circle, about 10 years later, Alkaline Trio emerged as my favorite band, and that's because I had a roommate who loved.
You're sitting next to the right guy over there.
Yeah.
I love them.
And then it wasn't until that though where they really became my favorite, and I started going to their shows, that one of their songs is on that Atticus compilation album. And then I went down and listened to more and more, and there's so many bands now that are part of this resurgence, and this from the early 2000s that's happening right now, and so the short answer, ska music and compilations was how I got into emo music.
Dude,
I
that's
think.
my story as well. I don't want to go too much into mine, but like
Yeah.
I didn't even care or know about like screamo or emo music. I went to my first Warped Tours because there were some ska bands playing that I liked, like Big D and the Kids Table, Real Big Fish. They were playing. Flogging Molly was playing too. I was really into them.
He's out of
And then
the
I'm just like,
Yeah, right.
oh shit!
Kicked out.
Because with Warped Tour you got like that that like little taste of, because they were like 30-minute sets, so
Yeah.
you got that little taste of what was out there.
Everything.
And yeah, so
And I mentioned Finch, but we've talked about Finch before, but like I saw Finch play under a 10x10 pop-up tent at Warped Tour, and it like changed my life. You know, I was like standing this far away from the guy, and I was like, "What is going on? This is amazing." Yeah.
What year was that?
God.
Don't date him. Don't date him.
Oh God. What year was that? That had to be
2003.
I was gonna say 01 or 02. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't think I could drink yet. I don't think I was 21. So
My
legally.
first was 04. I
Yeah.
think it was 04. Yeah.
so it was right in that neighborhood for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned you played trumpet. Did you play any other instruments, or were you ever in a band?
I was never in a rock band. No, I was in the band, which is
High school band?
High school band, marching
Yes.
band, concert band, the orchestra, everything that you could be in with a trumpet, basically, except for rock band. I was in all of those. Other instruments, I played the drums for about 5 minutes because I had a roommate who had a drum set. And so I learned to play. I learned to see how to play the drums.
Dude,
to
is it like Randall playing the drums?
Lights
That's about my skill
by
level,
Journey.
right?
You know the song Lights by Journey? When the lights go down in the city, it's very slow. That's the song I learned to play drums because I'm not very good.
I think that's the one where the drummer actually sings that in Journey.
You might
It's
be
either
right.
Lights or there's another one. I think it might be Lights.
I can barely do hands and feet. There's no way I was going to sing it too, but yeah, that's what I learned.
Let's have you play right now.
No, there's no
Do your
chance.
best. Do air drum it.
All of my musical talent has been left in the dust. It's like-
There's a
Yeah.
drum set, so we carry all this shit.
Yeah, let's move the cameras. Let's go.
all right, other room. Here we go.
What became your favorite emo bands and albums?
I mean, I think my one outlier that wasn't a big deal to everyone else was Alcohol and Trio. That was my one. So I had this roommate in college. He was like, "Have you ever heard of this band?" I was like, "No, I don't know who you're talking about." He's like, "Okay, that's fine," and proceeded to listen to them on repeat for about 4 weeks. And I was like, "Well, now I know them. I'm very familiar."
You have no choice now.
And he was also a big fan of the Get Up Kids, so I credit him with getting me to the Get Up Kids. Joe, if you're listening, which you're not, thank you for the musical taste. And so those are a couple of the outliers, and then obviously, you know, kind of in the broader, more popular version of things, people like My Chem, people like Paramore, people like Fall Out Boy. You know, the big.
The breakout emos.
Yes, exactly. Right. The people that were able to cross the gap into like, you know, playing arenas and you know, being on the radio regularly and stuff like that. We're kind of my main listening, you know what I mean? It hasn't been until now, which is 20 years after all this stuff was really happening, that I've started to listen to other bands. Like Hawthorne Heights, when they came out,
having a new emergence.
literally, but the music's all 25 years old or 20 years old. But like now, I'm like, oh, that's cool. When did that come out? Oh, 2003. Oh, hey, missed that.
Where was that? Where was it?
Hawthorne Heights, you know, like was almost like I'm not going to say a joke because I love Hawthorne Heights so much, but like when they first came out, it was just a bunch of like yelling about holding a radio over your head, and I was like, this is funny to me. I didn't get it. Yeah, exactly.
Sam really wants to play that song.
But now
I love that song.
You know, but now I've seen them 10 times. You know, I saw them play with the orchestra last year, like, and I think that they're amazing. So Hawthorne is one of those ones for me that has really come back around. I love Taking Back Sunday. I love The Used. I'm having a brain fart. Coheed and Cambria was one that no one liked, and I was like, "This is awesome," you know. And then I saw
They're still kind of a deep cut, man.
Then I saw the picture of the lead singer, and I was like, "That's not a girl. What's happening?" Definitely
His voice does not sound like it comes
not
out of
at
him.
all, dude. He's a
For
250-pound man with like a fro like this. It's
Right.
crazy. But yeah, it was big box guys for sure. But then the step below, which are the guys or the bands that you can still see play at venues like the Observatory, you know, places that are like 1,000 to 3,000 people, so you don't have to go to a fucking arena
Right.
or a football stadium at this point to see Blink-182, right? Like you can't even go to a basketball stadium. So I know I didn't fully answer your question because I'm also really not good at album names. Don't tell anyone. But those are 6 or 7 of my go-to guys
Nice.
for sure.
I like the Get Up Kids.
Yeah,
I know.
dude.
That's a good pull. That's a good pull.
And they were at year one of. This is not a plug for when we were young, but they were there, and they sounded great. You know what I mean? I thought this was an appropriate shirt to wear, even though.
No,
Yeah, we're actually going to blur that out and bleep it out until they start paying us for ads.
Perfect. I love that. I won't talk about it anymore.
No. Okay, so what about growing up? I know you mentioned Warped Tour.
Yep.
But favorite show or festival that you went to, either back in the day or recently, you can kind of answer both.
So the first concert I ever went to was Summer Sanitarium, which was Metallica.
Nice. My first
Kid
concert
Rock.
was Metallica.
So again, you're sitting next to the right dude.
and Korn. And that was
nice.
very much that was 15-year-old Adam. That's where we were. You know what I
Sounds
mean?
like me and Randall.
Hey, shout out to Family Values.
Family
Oh,
Values
that was
tour.
classic.
That changed our summer.
Yeah.
Orgy.
Talk about
Yeah.
that album. That came out.
Yeah. So
That
that's
compilation. Yeah.
when I was growing up. It was more. I think that's just because my friends. It was more hard rock. You know, it was more rock rap because when I was in high school, that was kind of that's when Limp Bizkit was huge. You know what I mean? And so that one really sticks in my head, obviously, because it was at the Coliseum. So there's 150,000 people, and when Lars hits the bass drum for the first time, I felt it in my soul, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck just happened?" It was
Right.
dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I can't.
He's
I can't
a
recreate
character,
there.
too.
He's wild.
Yeah.
So that was my first my first show, but also my first not a festival, but it was 5 or 6 really big bands. So
Right.
that was super cool. Obviously, Warped Tour was formative. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I mean? And I went a few different years, and it was cool because you always could guarantee that there was 6 guys that at the top that you'd recognize, or not guys, 6 bands.
Yeah.
But then you'd have this 10 by 10 tent experience where you'd get to go and see some smaller bands, and they'd be throwing out CDs, and that was just this
CD?
five
What is that?
5-song EP of a a band you've never heard before was dope. So
And then even the bigger bands will come out to the tents and hang out and
Yeah.
At the merch
sign
booth.
stuff. Yeah.
So I hate to jump in right now, but I gotta say that it's still the one traveling festival that's out there where they've made merch tents and that whole area a priority. Because if you go to festivals now, it's all centered
tucked
in
away.
one location. Nobody gets to put up their own booth. And it's all
Oh, yeah.
kind of corporatized. Over there, it was capitalism. Just do it. Wherever you want to set
Yeah.
something up, just
Yeah.
do it.
So
and
get
then
back
you
to
have
white
walk
van
by
up
the,
and put a tent out.
Imagine
you have to walk
set a
by
merch
the
booth up,
gauntlet
right
of
in the
booths
pit.
to see anything, but you were always interested because that's how you see. You would, I remember walking by, and you would see just a band shirt that just looked badass, and you never even heard of the band, and you stopped there. One of them was there, and they had their CD, and then you just bought it because
That's where Sam learned sales.
that's where I got sold to.
He's like, "Oh, that looks cool," and the guy's like, "Hey, you want my CD too? Let's talk." Sam's always really good at selling in our merch booth. That's why I bring it up.
Nice. Yeah, so I mean, and then honestly, there were no cool festivals for 20 years. Not for 20. Warped Tour went on for a while, but from the beginning of Warped Tour to when we were young, there was nothing in our genre. I went to Coachella one time just to say that I did.
Yeah, they every once in a while they have one or two
I was
bands,
okay,
Taking Back Sunday this past
Right.
year or whatever.
That's not my vibe. Stagecoach, not my vibe. I've been, just not my thing. You know what I mean? So
Well, you were at the Coachella this year though, right?
I did see TBS.
Yeah.
He was twacked out of his face,
I hate how he sings
which was a
now.
good time, I guess. But I've seen him play. I will say the best Taking Back Sunday show I've ever been to is Pappy and Harriet's. Have you guys ever been there?
Yes.
Before?
And
the venue.
Paul
When was this?
or Joshua Tree?
Joshua Tree.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a sideshow from year one of when we were.
Oh, really?
So 2 years ago now.
Wow.
And 800 people, tiny little spot, super dope. That was an amazing.
We should
show.
play there.
Would love to.
100%, dude. That would be amazing. But festivals are, as I turn 40, 12 hours at a festival, I'm like, even this year, at this show, I'll stop talking about it. I'm sorry. Halfway through the day, I had to go lie down because my back hurt so bad. You know what I mean?
We know about the back hurting.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I was wearing Vans. It was not a good move. Sorry, Vans, but not 12 hours on a 40-year-old back is not gonna do it. But
Get those
you know,
Dr. Scholl's in there.
yeah, I know.
right.
Older millennial.
Right.
But,
you can look cool, but
Yeah,
feel good.
Exactly. Yeah.
That feels
Yeah,
amazing.
orthotics.
It's 8 o'clock.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I've never been a huge festival guy, but it's cool seeing stuff now with the buying power of people that are around my age, that they are the ones buying tickets to shows, buying tickets to festivals. I think it's cool. You know, also, I don't know if you guys have had this realization, but like the Super Bowl halftime show, we're all like so stoked because it's people we listened to growing up. Then we're like, wait a minute, we're like the people that were like the Rolling Stones 15 years ago.
Right.
What's happening?
Right.
Because they're targeting us because we're the
Exactly.
people with the
It's-
spending power. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah,
is nuts.
the prices went up a little bit from Warped Tour too when we were young, didn't
slightly.
they?
Oh,
Quite a
They-
bit. Quite
yeah.
a bit.
Just
Yeah.
a
How
teeny-
much were Warped Tour tickets?
I
can't
feel like
remember.
25,
20
bucks.
bucks.
Warped Tour,
20 to
at,
40.
Warped Tour in Nampa, Idaho.
Uh-huh.
That was the one that I lived near.
Yeah.
$34.99.
Yeah,
and
sounds
it was
about
like $5 in fees, so it was like a $40 day.
Yeah.
Wow. Really killing you with those
To
fees,
see
though.
those-
Absolutely,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely not.
Well, fees at the Idaho Center are still like $5.
That's
It's,
fair.
I looked into Slipknot tickets, and it's like
Just anything.
$80 and then like a $7 service
Yeah,
charge. I'm like,
yeah.
God, that's less than the service charge for here.
Which like or it's like the same as the price of the ticket.
The ticket and the service charge are less than the service charges for here.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
What was the winter Warped Tour?
Was there a winter Warped Tour?
Well, it was like I think Kevin Lyman put
It
it
was
on.
Taste of Chaos.
Taste
That's-
of Chaos.
That is what
I
it
saw
was.
Deftones there. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never made it to Taste of Chaos.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it was like the indoor, kind of not as many bands, but it was a traveling scenario.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
That's actually a really good transition. Actually, funny enough, this is a lighthearted question, right? But it's kind of you kind of already feel like you answered the question just based on what you're wearing. Vans or Chucks?
You know what? It has changed in recent years. I am a Vans guy now. If you look in my closet, there's definitely more Vans than before. But coming up, I was a Chucks guy.
Why the transition?
After I was a shell toe Adidas guy. But that was like a Fred Durst thing. So
there we go.
once
There
I
we
got
go.
into college, I was like, I'm a Converse guy.
Wow. Why the change? Why moving to Vans?
You know,
Definitely not because they're more comfortable.
see,
Variety.
I'm sitting next to the Converse guys over there.
I could see that. Yeah. No, the old school Converse don't give me enough. I was wearing them for a long time and they didn't have the support, honestly.
Vans has slightly more support.
not a fashion decision. It was more of a comfort decision, but now I've realized that both of them need Dr. Scholl's.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Wow.
It doesn't matter. But right now in my closet, definitely more Vans. Yeah.
So, is there anything about the emo culture now that bugs you? Like any grumpy old man kind of type of.
Anything that bugs me. I will say there's not a lot that bugs me because I think that one thing that's cool about it is the inclusivity and like people show up to these shows or whatever dressed however they want to dress, and it's I love that there's a 50-year-old dude who's wearing a cutoff leather and a mohawk this high, and you're like, that's just your life. Like, you did not dress up for the show.
Right.
That's how you live your life.
Right.
And I think that's fantastic. And then you see the guys with the corporate fade haircuts, and they're like wearing their
Sam.
their Chucks and their in their band T-shirts. And I was like, okay, you're a weekend emo. Like
The
I
brand
dig
new
that.
weekend-
That's cool.
weekend emo.
Brand new shiny Chucks.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Or the
Not
ones
the
who have
dirty
their
Chucks.
plugs taken out. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, so you used to be hardcore, and we're like, you've grown, you're trying to grow up. Maybe
By taking out, you mean sewed together? Like they're.
that was a little kind of
Yeah, I
grossing me
know.
out a little bit. The one that I don't understand is the furries, the people that come in like the onesies, like the animal onesies.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Maybe
I've
this
seen a
is
couple of
maybe
them.
this is
Sounds
more of
exciting,
a
though.
festival thing.
It might be a
than
festival
a
thing. Yeah.
emo thing.
It sounds
but-
like that sounds. A little
But it's
boring.
almost like
Fuck would you
EDC
go to a
style.
That's what I mean.
Dressed
Like
as a furry.
in Vegas last year, I saw groups of like 5 or 6 people all in the same like dinosaur onesie, and I was like, I don't get it, but
I feel like
it's also 900 degrees. I don't know what you're doing.
just
but
feel like a festival thing.
yeah, it might be a festival thing. No, they're really honestly, there's not. I think that it is. I think that it's dope how people are embracing, this once was culture, this phase that they went through, but. This is a really good question, actually.
But actually,
maybe it's the only thing that it is. And I missed it. I'm actually too old for this. But the people that are like, I was emo in high school and you picked on me. Why is it cool now? And it's not that frame of mind that bothers me. I wasn't emo enough in high school to even understand what that means. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I said I was just before that. So, I hope that everyone can kind of just get along now,
Yeah.
because it's cool, and I realize that all the jocks and all the cool kids or whatever, if you were picking on someone who's emo in high school, grow up and tell us that you fucking like Fall Out Boy. We know you did that too. So get over it.
Dude, it's
over it.
It's funny. I was actually going to bring that up. I've heard that a few times where like people have been like, I look around and I see like there's like you're liking this music now, but you were not admitting that you were listening to Yellow Card or Fall Out Boy back in the day. So it's almost like I almost feel like it was like kind of a guilty pleasure that everyone really embraced, but didn't really like fully live the kind of culture.
Yeah.
And now that everyone's older, kind of like you said, like weekend emo, everyone's like, I love these songs. They may have been the jock
Right.
in high school, right? But they were still loving the music, and they just didn't really kind of like embrace it as much as others. So I find that funny. I've heard it, but I've never actually seen any like real negativity around it. People are just kind of like, like that.
That's it.
But that's about just kind of like noticing it, but like not really like, because I mean, honestly, every emo show or festival that I've been to in the last couple years, everyone seems to just be like one big family.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, people are stoked, and it's just like, it's something that's a little bit bigger probably than emo. It's also hardcore and metal shows. If someone's on the ground, you pick them up, and there's videos, viral videos of people from every walk of life, hip hop guys like stopping their show to like pick people up off the ground, which I think is super dope.
Right.
So that is, especially for people, that are call them elder millennials, call them whatever you want, but like we are now going back to these shows, and so many of these shows are built around art, taste, and music. Like that's still a thing. Like that's not just a like 19-year-old like plur thing. Like we all love each other. It's great. It's like actually like let's just be good people and like good music, and that's all that there is really for it.
All right, so this is kind of always an interesting question when we talk about it, but it's a good segue into the next section. Was emo a phase for you, bro?
I think we could safely say it was not a phase for me. It was never a phase for me.
Was that a plug?
Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Sam.
we're transitioning into it. So,
no, it is one of those things that I think that the more I learned about it, the more it's like increasing. Obviously, at this level, now we're putting on shows and like booking bands, and like this is a whole another level of being emo, I guess, at this point. But it started out, like I said, started with ska, started with a couple of these niche bands, and then it's just like I've been adding bands ever since. So I don't think you can call it a phase.
Yeah.
So question though, because we've all had kind of various answers to this. Some of us, it kind of like went dormant in a way, and then the resurgence in the last, like, I don't know, even 5 to 7 years or whatever. It's like, yes, it's back. Like for me personally, that's kind of where I was. I mean, I was listening to like mostly like EDM. Every once in a while, I'd throw on some old stuff. I had like some old playlists. But then like this resurgence that has happened, it kind of was like, yes, I'm back, baby. That was kind of what it was like for me. But like, were you always listening to the same music? Did you always dress the same way? Like, did it never stop? You know what I mean?
If I could show you, if there's a Spotify Wrapped for the last 20 years, it would be Blink-182 and Alkaline Trio. That's just something that has just stayed with me the whole time.
Yeah.
So when Matt played, you were probably just like, hell yeah.
Over the moon, dude.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, like, 'cause my two favorite.
Yeah. When my two favorite bands merged together, I was like, oh my god, this is great. And the albums that he wrote with them have Alkaline Trio pacing and lyric style, and I think it's fucking great.
Do
Yeah,
you
and I
think they
love
should have
Matt's
kept
voice.
him as a second guitarist?
I mean, the only reason why I would say no is because I love that they're touring.
Right.
Also.
No, I mean like when they brought Tom back.
Yeah, I would have. Yes, I would love to see them all four play together.
Yeah.
Like if they were at a show, either one of those band shows, and they brought, and they played together in some aspect, I think that'd be super dope.
For sure.
Or if Alkaline played some of the Blink songs that Matt wrote,
Right.
and now Tom has started playing some of the songs that they wrote with Matt, which is super cool. I think
yeah.
too.
All right. Well, so now that we brought that up, though, I want you to rank your Blink-182 albums in favorite to least favorite.
Cheshire Cat.
Cheshire Cat, dude. Like like the OG albums are still the fucking best, and the problem is they get buried because everything else is more poppy now than it was. But when my
Don't think you're getting away. You got to rank them still.
no, I don't think I could.
Do your best.
Okay.
No one's gonna hold you to it.
We're holding it to it. We're not going to hold it against him.
Right.
Okay. I say Cheshire is top. I'm gonna give. God, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket was so good. I'll put that one
was a good one.
next.
That
I
was a
love
good
that album. Mark, Tom, and Travis Show.
Oh yeah, we just listened to that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
And I realized I knew every drum beat and every joke.
Yeah.
Like
all the banter in between.
just all the extra drum
yeah.
beats. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give, and then I'm gonna the next one, number 4. I'm gonna put the new album because I think it's fucking dope.
Nice.
They got some songs on there that I think they're like the right combination of childish and grown up. If that makes sense. You know, they're bridging this gap now. We all realize.
Right.
And I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Dogs Eating Dogs.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Neighborhoods.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yes. Fuck.
I love the Dogs Eating Dogs EP.
Because it never gets put on any list. I think it's a super great album. So I'm gonna give that out.
Well, the fact that you put Cheshire Cat number 1, I think already puts you in a league of your own.
It's just it comes. I think that's an age thing too. You know what I mean? Like because I was actually around when some of these songs came out. They were on the radio.
So no Enema of the Stage.
I know that's crazy.
I
That's,
didn't
that's
hear
my
that at
top. I
all.
think.
Or even Dude Ranch.
I didn't hear the.
Yeah, Dude Ranch too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you,
He likes what he likes, dude.
I can't. If I could rank them all the same, I would. I would
Right.
be like, you know, but.
No, it's okay. You hate him of the state.
That's
Moving on.
That's fuck this guy. Next. No, I don't know. That's like I said. It's probably been my top listen over average for the last 20 years. So it's hard to do top 5 or you really have to go top 10.
no.
And then it's just all of them. And so it's like, what do we?
Hey,
what
I
am
said there'd be
doing?
hard hitting questions.
That one was tough. Don't judge me.
All right, so tell us now. I mean, you kind of already mentioned it. We're going to transition a little bit. So let's talk more about It Was Never a Phase Fest, man. What,
Yes.
like, yeah, just in your own words. Actually, you know, Steve had this crazy question. How would you explain It Was Never a Phase Fest to a boomer?
That's great.
That's a great question.
How
Good
would I
job,
explain-
Steve.
Thanks, buddy.
Miss you,
sorry
Steve.
you're
buddy. Miss you.
pooping out of your
Love
mouth.
you.
Or
Yeah,
what's happening right now?
Hope all the diarrhea's out of your mouth.
How would I explain It Was Never a Phase Fest to boomers? Okay. if you could pick your top 10 favorite bands from the 70s and 80s, this would be a tribute to those bands. This would be a tribute to Guns N' Roses, and Leonard Skinner would probably be there, and Journey would be there, and you know we could go down a list of like these like.
Honestly, it doesn't sound like a bad idea for a festival.
No, it sounds great. Write that down. No, that would be it. It would just be it'd be all their favorite bands over a 20 or 25 year period, but the tributes to them. So just the bangers, just the hits. You know what I mean? And like you said, that's a great idea for a show. I think it's a great idea for a country show. I'm not even a country guy, but like if you could put 8 dope tribute bands together to big country stars, I think that'd be a great show too.
Adam might do it. Don't tempt him.
You sign an NDA by watching this.
Right,
So.
right. Friend DA for everyone else.
That's a good question though, Steve.
So yeah, man. Then tell us now. Tell us about It Was Never a Phase Fest.
Okay. I'll give the
How'd you come up with it too? Like from the genesis.
I'll give the short background of it. So obviously we started doing emo nights at Cruisers, and we started doing them 3 years ago now, just about. And it got to the point where we would do a tribute, that we would do a compilation band. Is that the right phrase for emo kids? Is that like a compilation?
Cover band versus tribute.
Cover band versus tribute. So we cover bands and tribute bands. We go back and forth because there's some great tribute bands that are going to play the show, obviously, that you guys have played with before. And I was having a conversation with one of the guys from a tribute band, Matt Trujillo, who plays in 18 different tribute bands. He plays in Fire Out Boy and Misery Business and Toxicity. Thank you. And we were just
at the end too, right?
No,
he's not.
Danny's,
That's Danny.
Danny's-
That's
That's
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we were chatting about how we could make emo night bigger, cooler, and we were talking about. I'm going to say it again. when we were young. Sorry,
Someone's a
we're talking about
fanboy
that,
over
we're talking
here.
about that other festival in Vegas, and we were like, well, what if we did like an outdoor emo night, and we had a few bands. We had like 4 bands or 5 bands, and it was like a mini when we were young, and both of us looked at each other and we were just like, boom. And it kind of clicked in my mind, and I was at Cruisers at the time, and I walked outside, and originally we were going to do this in the parking lot to the police station next door, which if you're familiar, would probably fit about 200
Thank
people
God you
standing.
didn't do that.
Oh my
Wow.
God. That was my first
Yeah.
idea though. I was like,
The
these
cops
cops
would have
are
loved
saying
that
the
too.
same
love us, you know what I mean? This is a
Oh,
great
they would
idea.
have loved that.
So obviously, the conversation furthered, and then we got my business partner, Bud, with Cruisers involved, and we were looking at this space in the street in front of Cruisers, and we're like, this is about how big you would want a show if you had a couple bars, if you had a couple vendors, if you had, 1,000 people. And then my life became a shit show, and I've dragged Jordan in with me.
I remember. I got to tell this anecdote because I was a part of the earlier conversations. I'm like, oh, well, tell me how it goes. He's like, yeah, we're meeting with the city today, and then I think it was like either right after the meeting or the next day. I was like, so how'd it go? He's like, I got good news and bad news. They said yes.
And they said yes. That was the good news and the bad news, because I realized
Wow.
that in like 8 weeks, we had to put together an entire 9-hour show. In
It was an
the middle of the
aggressive
street.
timeline.
Aggressive. And
It went really well.
It went
awesome.
fantastic.
Yes, it
Everyone
was
had an
awesome.
amazing time.
Yeah.
We had 0 problems.
Yeah.
The city was happy. The police department was happy, which are the 2 people I need to make happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone that came to the show, including the bands that played, everyone had just a fucking great time.
Loved it.
And it was something that the city had never seen before, and they were stoked. We really, we made a lot of, we changed perceptions of what people can do in Huntington Beach downtown to a certain extent, which was super cool. That was not my intent. I was not going in there as a political, like, I'm going to do the best,
Right.
we're going to
I'm
make
gonna
this
make
for
a
the
statement.
city. Yeah, and I was not trying to make a statement at all. It ended up being that, though, because like you said, it went great.
It was
Professional, from professional talent to sound guys to vendors, everything went great. And we had a huge team of people help out with that. Not the least, obviously, you and Serendipity, you guys, and Josh, obviously holding the whole show together as we went. So it was a great success. It turns out that trying to duplicate that year after year is not so easy of a thing. Not because we didn't have precedent, but because not every resident loved it. The guy who couldn't hear his TV 4 streets over during the show, didn't love it. You know what I mean? Which is, it is what it is. Would the city have still let us do it again? Yes, they still would have let us do it because it did go so well. But I think that, I wasn't sure what direction to take it. And then you and I started chatting about potentially different venues that are existing venues, which is kind of how 2024 came to fruition at the Garden Amp. And I think that you, more than anybody, recognized the opportunity for us to do this at a professional music venue would really kind of take it to the next step, and also just take the concept that we had already proven and really make it viable.
Right.
I'm worried there's not going to be enough seats.
That's the problem that we want to have.
Well,
we
well,
want
I
there
mean,
to be enough room. Not to be enough room.
The thing is,
Yeah.
we did talk about that. The capacity, the official capacity
Yeah.
is almost 400 less than
Yeah.
what we had for the first year.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest things. We were like, ugh, is this, but I kind of want to get more into this.
Okay.
But the financial aspect of the first one and how this one changed. And before we get into this, I will say this because you brought up kind of this year's and how that kind of came about. I had been thinking about wanting to do a mega emo night, right? And talking to the band Emo After Dark. Some of the other ones, I had a connection there at Garden Amp, and I was like, yeah, what would it take to put on a mini festival kind of show thing, and they the conversation started to move forward, and I was like, let me see what Adam's doing with It Was Never Phase Fest, because it felt like it was getting close to almost being the same thing anyway. And I was like, instead of me just like doing this myself, maybe like let's see what Adam's thoughts are on this year. And you tell me, Adam, were you thinking about having it again, or just being like one and done? Like before I approached you again.
I absolutely wanted to do it again. I wanted to make it annual, even twice a year, because I think that people had such an amazing time that the opportunity to go outside and see these bands that, you know, that were tributes to people that they love for a fraction of the cost, which is a thing these days, you know.
Yeah.
Blink ticket costs $300 or whatever, was really that people wanted to do this and they wanted to keep coming back. And I think that all the other things going on in my life, you'd mentioned before I come up here, we're going to talk about It Was Never a Phase and other projects. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but this new bar in San Diego made my time, has just dominated my time so hard that the idea of doing what I did last year wasn't possible.
Yeah.
So when Jordan brought this idea of doing it, but with a huge leg up from doing it in an existing venue, I was like, okay, this actually makes sense for us. We should, this is something we could execute.
Yeah. So Adam's idea for a guy doing a first time festival, he's like, yeah, let's shut down a city street in a populated area. Let's build walls and a stage.
Yeah, I don't know why that was year one.
And all the very first time at it, this guy like just goes for it and
have it be done right in front of a police station.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it, and like you mentioned briefly, like financially, did it make sense? No, it didn't. But that was, we were able to create such a cool experience that
It was a memorable night.
You know what I mean?
Memorable show, really.
Yeah. That it was it was a one of a kind thing. Mm-hmm. So I really did want to do it again, but thankfully you prodded me into actually like executing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, there's definitely a lot more shortcuts the way we went this year than last year.
If you're gonna throw a show, throw it in an existing venue. Don't throw it in a street. That's my advice to everyone.
So, but on that
Still
topic,
cool,
so cool.
yeah, on that topic, it was super cool. I'm sure. I mean, honestly, weirdly enough, I haven't gotten too many people complaining or upset that it's not in the same spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought I'd at least get some people online.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard anything. But with that in mind, like, do you think you'll ever want to go back to the beach or do something like that, or do you think? I mean,
that was the plug, Sam. That was the plug right there. Back to the beach was the plug.
I got it. It might.
Jordan, I don't think Jordan was supposed to make that.
I honestly didn't do that on purpose. But
Jordan still doesn't know what we're talking about.
I do know what back to the beach was. Okay, relax. No, but I know it might be a little too early to call this because we haven't done the one at Garden Amp yet.
Yeah.
But do you want to go back to the beach?
I want to do this on the beach.
I do too.
I want to do it on the
That
sand.
sounds awesome.
And if we can't do it on the sand, I want to do it in the parking lot adjacent. Like, I want to do this on the water where the performers can see the water, all the attendees can see the water, and you're literally right there, and the piers in the background.
Performers facing the pier.
We play for the
That way
whales.
the people on the pier can see. They'll be at a distance, but
And what's super cool about Huntington Beach, this is not a paid ad, they are getting more and more open to doing events in their public spaces. That does not change the cost of doing events in their public spaces, but they're willing to approve permits and live music things that they have never done before, which a lot of us saw with Darker Waves last year, which was an 80s new wave festival. So do I think it's possible to go back to the beach? I do. I think that's a bridge that we'll cross after we go back to Garden Grove.
So
I'm
how
gonna
would
start planning it July 22nd.
22nd, exactly. Yeah.
So would we play to the water, or were their backs to the water?
I'm
Like
kind
the
of
side of
thinking.
the water.
I'm kind of thinking parallel.
Oh,
just like-
Maybe we get two
okay,
stages.
okay,
So we
yeah.
both get to
just can go
so the
back
bands
and
get to
forth.
enjoy it too.
Smart.
They get to enjoy the beach too.
I love
so
that.
what would happen when we run out with our wireless systems? Would Steve and I would we be able to frolic in the water? Do you think just for like a?
I don't know if we'd be that close to the water. Electronics don't really go too.
Also, with your wireless systems, I don't know if frolicking in the water would be advisable.
Well, we don't have to go.
It wouldn't stop him from trying though.
We're gonna, right in
Exactly,
front of the stage.
yeah.
We're gonna get a kiddie pool with some water and sand in it, and you can stand in there, roll up your skinnies, and
Oh,
play
right, a little
solo.
kiddie pool.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know what? Fuck it. Put us on a yacht.
Yeah.
Do some yacht rock. There we go. Yeah, just have a barge, floating barge. Out there.
Talk about that later.
After party.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think it's I think it could keep going and going and going and going.
So what was your most shocking thing? I mean, again, doing this for the first time. What was the most shocking, maybe expense or headache to doing it the way we did it the first
most
year?
I'm
shocking-
sure there was no headache.
The most shocking expense.
I think the whole thing was just pure headache.
That's accurate. The most shocking expense is the police department.
See that's what I thought you were going to say.
100%.
And how much was it just to have the police there? Right? Well, how much was that?
$9,000.
That's crazy.
And that's for 8 guys.
8. Okay.
8 guys.
I heard they
over-
really liked us though.
They loved us because they didn't have to do anything.
Right.
I also had 25 security guards. Like we did not have a single. We had one drunk guy that got kicked out in 9 hours.
It wasn't me.
10 hours, and it wasn't Sam.
Yeah, for once. For once, it wasn't Sam.
That's part of this process of them starting to allow more events. Is if they see more operators doing it the right way and doing it safely and creating an environment that doesn't have problems, that price will go down. Right. If we did it again there, it would go down because they know that we know what we're doing.
Don't
but
let
also
them poison the well, by the way.
Yeah.
They're just lucky because it's you running the show.
Right.
It's somebody else over there. It's
well,
jabroni.
you have like an insane clown posse tribute.
Something tells me they wouldn't allow that one. Actually,
I feel like the country one would go pretty hard though. That one they might need the full 9,000.
Country fans like their beers.
straight whiskey.
That too. Yeah, that was the most shocking one. Was the police department for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, but something that I feel like would improve with time if we were to do it again.
Man, so does anyone remember last time we played Cruisers? Coley said something about the police guys saw us oh, they're the emo kids from last year's festival.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
Something
That's
like
cool.
that. I guess the guys are outside and they remembered us. It's yeah. So if you ever get in trouble out here, just say you're an emo kid.
Yes, I have. I don't know the guy's name, so he can't get in trouble. I got pulled over in my car because it had no license plate on it. I have this old Jeep, so stupid. And I was trying to get it registered, but it wouldn't smog and all this nonsense. I was driving down PCH, and I had my Cruiser shirt on. Guy pulled me over, and he asked for my license and registration. It was not registered, obviously. So I gave my license. He said, where are you going? I said, well, I just got off work at Cruisers. He's like, Cruisers? He's like, you guys have great pizza. He's like, go get a license plate. Hands me back my license.
Nice. It is great pizza.
Yeah,
I love the pizza there.
I will say this about the Huntington Beach community: we really support our police
Very much, and they support us back.
Exactly,
for sure. They do.
Very good. So this is going to be our plug, and but I didn't write this question. This is a Steve question again. Who are you looking forward to seeing the most? It was never Face Fest. Besides emo kids.
It
literally says this.
Okay.
I didn't write this. This was Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
That was political, Steve. Thank you. Who am I looking for besides you guys?
You're gonna have to make the political answer anyway. I feel like. Every single band.
I think that
he'll be too busy doing other shit to see any of them.
Okay, well here's the political.
If he gets to see one band, he'll be happy.
I'll give you both. The political answer is I'm looking forward to see the rock stars of tomorrow, because these kids are supposedly can shred, right? They're learning. They love rock music. They love emo music. They're coming up, and they're the next generation of emo kids, literally. So that's going to be super dope. And I think that's going to be a fun part of the show.
How old are they? Are they like 10?
I think we're going to have a range.
12?
I think it's going to be
I honestly don't know. We kind of left that up to Michael, which
Right.
I hope we'll have Michael here for an interview at some point.
That'd be
too.
cool. Yeah, we just asked him for the guys that
because
can
kids
shred.
today
Pretty much
are
gave him
just phenomenal.
here's 3 hours.
It's
Here's
nuts.
3 hours. Fill it with however you want. That's what we said. Just do it.
Yeah, kids today are just like little prodigies.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
But yeah, let's actually jump into that real quick then. This is the first year we're doing 2 stages.
Yes.
And you and I talked obviously pretty heavily what do we do with the second stage? We want to obviously differentiate the stages, but also try to not create too much tension, which honestly is going to still be hard. Which stage do I go to? We tried to stagger it as best we could, but it's going to be you're definitely going to miss some of the stage 2 or stage 1 depending on where you're at. But talk a little bit more through kind of what we're thinking.
the idea here, right, is
or who's all featured on stage 2.
You're right. Well, we've got our main stage, right? And our main stage is we kind of follow the same formula from last year, which is this year 2 covers, obviously with Finding Emo doing a deep cuts, and then all tributes. And then on the second stage of the Rockstars, a couple bands that won contests on our social media, which is super dope. We talked about listening to Halfway Neptune today. I don't know if we're still going to do that, but I was pumping their shit on the car on the way up.
Halfway Neptune and Drive By Cinema is our winners that are the original bands that can play that.
Which after listening to Halfway a bunch, I think I love bands with female singers.
Hey, we're reviewing that later. Chill out.
Okay, all right.
We're reviewing that in a second.
Stay
on task.
So second stage, musicians, up and coming musicians, some original bands which are obviously have fan bases already because they got voted in to play, which is cool, and then Death Cab for karaoke. So Death Cab, I've gone to see them, I don't know, 6-7 times.
Where have you seen them, by the way?
The Wayfarer. A few times, and then I just saw them up in Long Beach. The first time they played in Long Beach at a place called the
Di Piazzas. Is that?
No, it's like the Regency Theater or something theater. I don't remember the name. But they put on a fantastic show, and obviously different singers can sign up for every every song, which I think it adds an element because, like you said, we're gonna have all these people that are dressed like rock stars at this emo show because that's what we all dress up as when we go out to shows. That actually get to sing. Really differentiating the two stages in a way and staggering it so people can see as much of the bands that they want to see as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're way better staggered than most of these big festivals because you're like 7 bands you want to see at 3:15 p.m.
Sure.
You're like, what am I supposed to do? But I think that it's going to be a good back and forth. Hopefully, people get to sing and then still make it out to see you guys close the show down. As the evening gets on.
So question, because I've never seen. Actually, we saw live band karaoke once, but I've never seen the Death Cab guys. Mm-hmm. So you've seen a couple of shows. Like, how does it go with a different singer each time? Because there's got to be a range. There's got to be a.
As you can imagine, it's similar to regular karaoke where you have these stunners who have been singing their entire life.
They're just waiting for this moment.
Yes, absolutely. or they're singers in their regular life and they're like, oh, I want to go do this. This is fun. And you have people that,
sing in the shower,
literally, and have no pitch at all. You know what I mean? You're gonna get both. What's great, obviously, with a live band is those guys are so great at performing. They're helping. They have 2 guys who sing back up and like help out and make sure the person just doesn't like die on stage. But there's some people,
sound guy too.
Just turns it down all the way.
But it's gonna be entertaining because there's gonna be a range for sure, which is dope.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is Steve was insistent. He wanted to put in a weird ass. Actually, he wanted to put more than one. I said, let's chill.
I was gonna say he's really flowing with these out of the box questions.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's really flowing right now.
This one, he's flowing somewhere.
Oh, sure.
Oh, God.
Something's flowing.
Haha, poo poo, pee pee, caca.
Food poisoning.
But I had it too the other day, so maybe he did like really.
Maybe he got it from you.
Possible.
You guys making out again?
Possibly.
What did I tell you guys about that?
Not the cuttlefish.
That's an inside South Park joke. You won't get into why.
Not the cuttlefish.
Okay, so here's the question.
Yeah.
It's a really hard hitting question. Ready?
Okay, here we go.
Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
I'm gonna go 1 horse-sized duck.
Why?
Because at least all the horses would have like hooves and can bite you, and there's 100 of them. And with the duck, I feel like you get a couple good shots in, you have a chance.
All right, I feel like everyone has to answer the question.
Yeah, I think so.
Just because this.
Dude, think of the bill on a horse-sized duck. Just like,
Yeah, I feel like I'd rather do 100.
Yeah,
I'd rather do 100.
Kick him out of the way.
Just a punt fest. I think you could survive that better than a. Because those ducks are gnarly.
I can't even outrun a duck-sized duck. How am I going to outrun
with
a
all the
horse-sized
little
duck?
ones.
Right. You see the
Exactly.
Jurassic Park with all the little tiny dinosaurs?
It's scary.
Like,
Yeah, but it's
Yeah, but
still.
they're gonna be like ants. They're just gonna consume you.
that's what I mean. If there's 100.
I don't know. I've never seen a horse climb. So like those lizards can like climb you. But
That's
it's like,
the least of our worries.
What would they do? My ankles might be a little hurt. My stub my toe a little bit, but I think I could handle 100 of them.
Your ego would be a little bruised, too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Also, everyone watching would be like, "Wow, there's a lot of duck-sized horses." So thanks, Steve, for that question.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve.
And you have any answer, Randall?
No, I'm taking one-on-one. I think that's.
Is everyone one-on-one besides me?
Oh, I'm 100.
I'm 100. What about you?
Can we play dead?
But
or
are
what?
they They're horse?
You can do whatever you want, but there's still.
I'm gonna try playing
Horse-sized
dead
ducks.
on that one.
Yeah,
Okay, but
I'm going
but
100
there's
duck-sized
100. Either
horses.
way, you play dead with a one horse.
Maybe like a bunch of puppies, you know.
So you go for the 100 too?
Yeah, I'll go.
They can fly a little bit though. That's a game changer. Dude.
No, a horse. No, it's a
It
horse.
is a confusingly worded question.
Yeah, it is.
Horse-sized ducks and duck-sized
No, I go
horses.
with 100 duck-sized horses.
Okay, but the horses
Small
are
horses.
You get
Yeah,
the
small
small
horses,
horses.
small
Or you
horses.
get a large ass
Little
duck.
horses are probably still pretty.
Can we
fast,
cue
like
an
little
image of
chihuahuas.
this?
We'll try to
Right
find.
here, we're gonna
try to
have
find
a-
some.
What do these look like?
ChatGPT is going to create us an image.
Yeah,
Please,
we'll try to figure it out
please.
for you. So, transitioning. Yeah, you kind of mentioned this too. I'm not letting you get away with it. Let's talk a little bit more about cruisers. How did it start? Because I don't even know this. How did cruisers start? What's your history there?
So, long story short, in 2014, 2013, I worked at a job that I really hated, really hated it a lot. And I'm going
Can you tell us?
I'll give them a shout out, Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
I think you did tell me that actually. I think
I worked at a rental car.
Dude, that
National.
seems like where good people go to die.
Well, 8 years and, like 12
he
locations.
made it. He made it out.
But the sad part of the story is that I disliked my job so much. Every day after work I was at the bar by my house because I was like, go home and I'd be like, drown my sorrows. You know what I mean? Like, well, this is terrible. What am I going to do? And two of the bartenders at this bar that I went to all the time, we would chat. We became friends because I was there too much, and they knew that I had a background in restaurants because I did restaurants in high school and college. And when I was at Enterprise, I was hiring people, training people, writing corporate training manuals, like doing
Manager
HRE manager stuff. They got the opportunity to open Cruisers, which was next door to this bar in Newport. And they asked me, they're like, hey, we'll teach you how to bartend because I never bartended. If you will come hire everybody, train everybody, write our HR manuals and all this stuff. And I quit my job the next day. I was like, bye.
Damn.
Yeah, I was like, I'm out. I'm out, dude.
Nice.
So quit my job. The restaurant, we had construction delays, so the restaurant didn't open for like 6 months. So I was like, money's getting a little tight. but we opened in 2014 in Newport. That was the first one, and just gangbusters right off the bat. Football was crazy. It was a rager. Fast forward 3 years, we found this property in Huntington, which is where Huntington is currently located, but we've done a big remodel since then. So we opened Huntington in 2017.
I remember through 2020, man, just ordering at the window.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So So we got there in 17, opened, and then COVID. We served out of the window for 9 months.
I still miss
because
the
we
outdoor patio
We built a
section.
deck outside.
That was fun.
While we were remodeling the indoors, and then once finally the
Kind of
indoors
worked
was
out.
done.
Kind of worked out.
As much as something like that could work out in a pandemic. But yeah, so remodeled, was as soon as we were back inside, much to Jordan's chagrin, we built the tiniest stage in the history of mankind.
I feel like we're still,
music.
dude. I still feel like we're the only band that actually uses the pallets that I have in the back.
Actually, last Friday they brought him out for something. I don't know who it was. Oh, it was Last Parade. Last Parade, yeah. Last
So
Parade. They brought him out.
they probably saw some videos of us like,
Yeah, they're
wait,
like, we
what?
want the rest. Yeah.
Where's the
They
rest of
were up on the
that?
bar too.
I'm still waiting on whoever built the other ones. We got to build the same sturdiness.
I know.
Because the pallets definitely they give a little
flex
bit,
a little
and
bit.
there's like holes in it. So we're almost tripping it each time.
Like
But
a little trampoline.
We need to build a bigger stage. But yeah, that's the long and short of the Cruiser story. Unhappy to 10 years later. Now we're doing music festivals. I don't know how this happened, but it's been quite the progression for sure. And with the pandemic in the middle.
here's another Steve question. Who are you thankful for?
Who am I thankful for? Just generally,
Yeah, whatever.
very thankful for my family. A great mom and dad and brother.
Where's your family?
Dad is in Tustin. Mom is in Denver, and my brother and his wife are in Denver as well. So we're a little spread, but I have a big extended family. A lot of people in Dallas, a lot of people in Connecticut, East Coast, and I definitely, I wouldn't have gotten to anywhere without them. I wouldn't have gone to college, wouldn't have gotten to Enterprise, wouldn't have gotten to Cruisers without them. So I also have a fantastic group of friends that I've had for 30 years. My best friends I've known since I was 11 years old. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to collect really good people around me. And, you know, obviously I've had a great time.
Like Pokemon cards.
not a creepy way, but like, you know, you
Have
can
hair dolls of each one of them.
you know, you can introduce one group of your friends to another group of your friends, and they get along. It's like kind of like I just like have a moment. I'm like, this is dope, you know. And I love, you know, that we get to do shows together. And you know, now I told Josh, you know, when he first started doing emo DJ stuff. I think Josh is off camera right now, but
Let's get Josh in here.
but
Sit down.
when Josh started DJing. He's like, I'm willing to help out however I can. And I was like, be fucking careful. You're going to end up having a job. So, and fast forward a couple years here, and now Josh is helping me out with way more than just being a DJ. So, I'm just fortunate to have a lot of good people. For sure.
So I forgot to ask this question, and it's probably the most important question of the whole podcast.
Oh boy.
You ready for this?
Oh yeah.
How do we get our beer into cruisers?
I thought it was going to be what's your favorite pizza, not even
That's
beach.
a great
question. I mean, I don't think there's a question about that. I think it's. I was actually going to say that's what we should be drinking. We should be drinking those.
I know we should. We don't
okay.
even have the cans
Okay.
yet. They're
we're going to superimpose the Emo Kids
Right.
can over
By the
this.
time this goes live.
by the time this goes live, yes,
pretty
we,
much.
we will have
Dope.
it. Yeah.
All right, perfect. Yeah, well, we just
Maybe it'll be at Cruisers the next emo show. You put on there.
yes. So Sam's just got to put on his salesman hat and come in with some beer, and
There
we'll
you
get
go.
it going.
Right?
Yeah,
We'll be there.
no doubt.
We'll all be there.
So what do you do for fun? I know you don't have any time at all, but if you were to have time, what would you do for fun? Sleep?
Sleep.
He rents
sleep
party
is
buses and takes all of his friends to emo shows.
sleep is huge. Yeah, you know, I have a problem with like organizing things in my free time, so then it becomes work.
Right.
It all becomes too awesome.
Yeah, right. Yeah, God, so much awesome. No, I mean, if I'm really going to not work, it's travel. Travel is my thing. It's hard for me to do long trips right now because I was talking about all the different things I have going on. But even if it's 3-4 days in Mexico or something like that, quick turnaround. Like I just love to travel. I really want to get back to Europe in the next 6 months and potentially Southeast Asia next year. So, yeah, that's my
Nice.
that's my gig for sure.
Anything else you want to plug or any other projects you're working on right now?
No, this is awesome. Like I really appreciate you guys having me and kind of going down this rabbit hole with me. I feel like I have done all the talking, and I apologize if I've taken over this.
No, Randall actually prefers it this way. Usually I'm the one that doesn't shut up.
You're the guest, bro. You're good.
But no, I mean, Come Day Was Never Phase Fest. It's gonna be dope. Go see these guys somewhere in the country because you guys are gonna be everywhere in the next 6 months. I feel like.
I was gonna say you like to travel.
I do.
Join the crew.
Come with us, buddy.
I will.
I'll take you some places.
I am down to tag along on a trip, 100%,
Dude.
I think
Yeah,
that
look
next
what we got coming up.
week-
Just
a lot
let
of
us
fun. I know,
Yeah.
literally everywhere. No, come to the festival. Go see these guys play. Come eat pizza at Cruisers. Maybe have a
Delicious
beer or two.
pizza.
They also have this new beer called Emo Kids. You should try it. It's gonna be delicious.
Yes.
You know, the multi thumbs up. That was good. You guys planned that?
Can't wait. Did we both do it?
No, and then you know, if anyone's down in San Diego area, come see me in Sorrento Valley. Got a place down there too called the Corner Office.
Great. So
Yeah.
we're actually going to review. This is one thing I want to start doing more of, because Emo Kids, again, what we want to do as a brand is obviously not only celebrate past emo, but we're trying to bridge the gap into future generations as well. We obviously have some kids of our own. We have kids apparel, things like that. But one of the things we want to do is start introducing our audience to newer bands too, right? So obviously we're very well versed in the old stuff that we've been doing, but we want to try to intro our audience to new bands. So Randall's going to take the lead a lot of times for whatever reason. He's always introducing me to bands. He hasn't really stopped since as long as we've known each other. So moving forward, Randall's going to be kind of our guy, our ears in the scene. But we want to start off by reviewing one of the bands that is the original, one of the original bands that Adam mentioned earlier in the podcast. That's going to be playing second stage at It Was Never a Phase Fest, and they're called Halfway to Neptune. who wants to start with the review of the songs that they were able to hear on the link I sent? Maybe let's start with Adam, since
me.
he was already kind of going at it.
I started there, and I'll make it brief. But as I was mentioning, I love rock bands with female singers. And as I listened to Halfway Neptune, I was trying to compare them to somebody else, because she has a great range, but she likes to sing in a lower range, and so I was thinking like Chrissy Hynde, and people like that. Because if you're you're female singing emo, you're going to automatically compared to Avril Lavigne and Haley, obviously from Paramore. That's the go-to. But I don't think that she really matches either of their vibes. So she has it's a very like almost like a Pretenders level of voice, which I think is dope. Actually, listening to the music side of their songs is what put me back on Atticus mix on the way up here, because that style of music is very like 01, 02, like very like early kind of heavy emo. And so I thought it was a cool combination, both with a great female singer and also like an old school kind of heavy emo sound.
Yeah, it definitely, that was an interesting point that I totally agree with, is listening to it. I was like, it's crazy that there's so much of the influence still from back in the day, like still in these up and coming bands. I'm just like, it's cool to hear. I'm also like, should I be hearing more changes? It's really cool that I did get a lot of the classic vibes from it as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any other things?
No, that was pretty much it. Very very simple, hard hitting, not on the theatrical side, not anywhere near the Fall Out Boy or kind of vibe, which I thought was just straightforward rock music, and she's got a great voice.
Yeah. Randall, you want to go next?
Yeah, no, I dug them. I kind of feel that same way that Adam does. I felt like Singer kind of reminded me a little bit of like Evanescence.
Yeah, I was feeling that too.
Meets more of like kind of like that pop-ish. So it's like a really cool tone.
You know what it was? It was kind of a Evanescence meets Haley Williams.
Yeah,
it was a little bit of that.
Out. But I like their edge. Like they had some really cool licks in there. Guitarists can definitely play all of them together. And I like how they kind of bridge that gap between some heavier parts and some more catchy parts that even have like a slower tune on there. I thought was pretty dope as well. So yeah, excited to catch them.
Yeah,
it was never phased.
I watched the video link on their page that I didn't really like listen to any of the songs because I wanted to see how they sounded live, because they had that one video on there, and I think it was the one where they started one of their sets, and I was really impressed by their energy, especially as a 4-piece. She sounds great, but the other two members of the band, like the guitarist and the bass player, they were playing on a really small stage, but I was really impressed how much they were into it and how accurate they were. And they brought a lot of energy, so I'm super stoked to check them out.
So Jason, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I'm looking forward to seeing them live.
Jason doesn't know anything besides drums. It's like, it was good. So I'm actually gonna critique a little bit of it. The first thing I will say is their production's really good. I wish my first bands, really my first any 3 bands maybe, were as good at production. I feel like these days the production level is so much easier to attain for so much less effort and money. I mean, you can record everything in a computer right here and have all your amp softwares and program drums, and it just sounds amazing. I mean, I remember we're recording in my room, and I'm like on like a Casio playing drums. Like that was how we recorded back in the day. So it was really good production. The Edge of a Knife song had a really heavy Metallica influence. And I know you guys kind of mentioned Metallica earlier. I thought that was really cool. They did some really cool metal bends, and metal bends, guitar bends, and we like doing those in Duality. My only critique is they might have overused them a little bit, and one of the things that I think that it comes just with being experienced in bands. The more you're in bands, it's like you really like a part, and you're almost tendency to like overuse it. And you kind of got to be like, no, you want the audience to want it more. Play the song again because I want to hear that cool part again. There was a little too much of that for my. It was really riff heavy. I love riffs, so that was really cool. That I like that song. It was really riff heavy.
I'll jump in real quick. What came to mind when I was listening to that was actually Iron Maiden. but Metallica also.
Sure.
Like, it's a
Well, it was
there's
the
definitely
intro-
like heavy metal part. And I was like, oh, this is like heavy metal. Like,
Well, it was interesting. It started Metallica, and then it had it went more into that.
not quite Run to the Hills, but that's what the direction they were going.
Right. One of the things, and I'm a drummer, so this kind of is close to my heart, and especially close to Jason's heart. I don't think that they played to a click, and you could tell in certain moments.
I always wonder how that is on the producer or engineer
So,
side. That's got to be the biggest
It's a nightmare.
challenge.
It's a
I'm
nightmare
sure,
for producers. I'll tell you that. But as a listener, especially going between sections, you can hear different tempos, and to me it's a little distracting when that happens. And again, it's not easy to play to a click, for sure. But that's something I definitely recommend every up and coming band and drummer does, is learn that song to a click. It's going to make your producer's life a lot easier. It's going to make the song overall quality just instantly improve. So that was one thing I would critique. Her vocals are insanely powerful. Loved it. It was a very interesting song structure too, and I'm not sure if anyone else noticed this in Edge of Knife. They had a lot of, it wasn't typical like verse chorus bridge chorus out. They kind of had a unique arrangement. One interesting thing too, and we used to do this in Scenic, is their ending. The ending almost could have been its own song. It had a really cool element. It was like it was their outro really, and I'm like, wow, they could have just take this out and like literally have built a brand new song around it. Their song On These Walls had a really cool vibe. I almost got Incubus instantly. I don't know if anyone else heard that in there. I love the use of toms. This guy was the drummer was really had really cool, interesting, unique tom fills. Their harmonies were really great. I mean, you kind of mentioned that they were tight live when you watch that video. I think they need to kind of settle into sections a little bit more in some of it, because they got a little bit choppy, and some of them like, oh, I hope it picks up here and starts going, but then it would do another kind of fill or chop, and I'm like, I felt like it was a missed opportunity to just get going in a groove. The night driving songs are the last thing. So structurally, I think it was my least favorite of all of them, but it had because it had a punk section come out of nowhere. It felt like. Mm-hmm. But the bridge was a standout part in those songs. So if you guys look back through those, I think there's a really good mix. And again, I think up and coming band, they're really cool to check out. So again, Halfway to Neptune, check them out.
I'm stoked to see them for sure.
So here is the fan question. I know you saw that I posted it today. We got some.
Oh, someone actually responded.
We actually got two, and I like them both. So we're gonna do both of them. We got two. I'm going to start with... actually, let's start with this one. If emo music was a pizza, what pizza would it be? I thought it was too good to not ask that question.
What pizza would it be?
And why would it be Hawaiian?
Just because it's misunderstood.
You know what?
That's a great point.
And I'm going to take this, instead of toppings, I'm going to go a different direction with this. I'm going to take this style of pizza, and it would be Neapolitan pizza.
Okay.
Because as you look at a Neapolitan pizza, it has all these like bright colors, basil, there's tomato, there's this beautiful mozzarella, little like burn pieces on the crust, which makes Neapolitan pizza look so beautiful. But then when you pick it up, it goes...
Really?
It goes...
Just... Really?
I gotta ask Jason a question real quick.
Get the fuck out of here.
When you pick up a slice of Neapolitan pizza, it goes droopy. It goes... Wah. So it's this beautiful artwork that's like... Meh. And then it's delicious.
Just soft inside.
Yeah.
Hey, it's my favorite kind of pizza. So
It is. It's beautiful. It's delicious, but it's also a little bit droopy and sad. That's my take.
All right, so here's... I'm going to try to word this a little bit differently so we don't get canceled.
Oh boy.
But knowing your affinity to dogs, I don't know if you know Adam, but he's a big dog lover, and he's so busy that he can't actually have his own dog.
Not right now.
But that doesn't stop him from doing daily pup dates on his stories. It's a big dog lover. So again, I'm assuming that whoever asked this question knows you really well too.
I am assuming so.
So
no.
If you had to end of the world,
Oh boy.
you either all women are gone or all dogs are gone.
no.
And that was the PC version of this.
No, we're not even answering that question.
Come on.
No, we're not doing men versus bear. I love dogs and I also love women. For two very different reasons.
I hope so. I hope so. All right, well, thank you, Adam, again for being a part of this.
Thank you for
Sorry
having me.
that two of our band are so rude they just left. At the end of your podcast.
It's all good.
Thanks so much for coming. We can't wait for
No.
It Was Never a Phase Fest.
Yeah, we're stoked. Follow the It Was Never a Phase Instagram. Check us
And
out.
itwasneverafazefest.com.
There you
Get
go.
your tickets. We just sold out of early bird tickets, I
Nice.
think, right?
Yep.
And then it's again, there's less room than last year, so make sure you get your tickets before they're sold out. You're gonna be very, very sad and emo, and just gonna be emo from the outside instead of emo on
From
the
the
inside. Well, you know what I mean. Physically. Anyway, see you later.